welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a recap of the Acura Legend project car that we started in the beginning of this year and share with you how much it costs to do a light quote-unquote restoration on a vehicle you might be looking at. So the idea here is that when we started this project, the intent was to share with you how much it would cost so that you could put in the back of your mind how much you need to put in the bank if you wanted to go through a restoration project like the one that we did on the Acura Legend. Now this is a little bit different than what we did on the Acura CL. The Acura CL needed a lot of work to get it back into what we would call showroom condition. And even then we went beyond that a little bit. So in this example of the Acura Legend, the idea was that we were going to purchase a car for a reasonable price that had good bones already, but just needed some work, both maybe interior and both mechanical, so that we could get a nice functioning and reliable car that would present well if it went to a show. So that's the premise of our project, and now we're going to share with you the costs behind that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's our Acura Legend spreadsheet. As you can see, we purchased a 1992 Acura Legend LS Coupe Automatic. And we purchased it for a sum total of $3,500. We paid $1,500 on top of that to transport the car from Austin, Texas to Waterbury, Vermont, where we live. The total cost of the restoration project, including the purchase and including the transportation, was $7,364. So let's go ahead and break that down. What all went into the Acura Legend so far? So we had to get a antenna motor and mast replacement. We got that from a used car. That cost $212.46. No labor associated with that, no shipping associated with that. So if you look at these cost numbers, you'll see that we have a part cost, a labor cost, and a shipping cost. Most of the labor associated with this car falls under me. So I didn't pay myself, obviously, for the labor. So if you're going to go through, it's important that you know that if you're going to go through a restoration project and you're not willing to do the work, the sum of labor is going to cost an exorbitant amount on top of all the parts that you see here. So most of what I'm going to share with you does not include labor. And another tip that I'll share with you, if you go through and do a quick assessment of your car before you dive into the project, you can save yourself a lot of money by ordering all the parts at once and saving on shipping costs. So keep that in mind. That's something that I specifically struggle with because as you go in there, you find more and more that you want to replace. But if you can do a very thorough assessment, you can minimize the amount of shipping that you pay. So let's go ahead and get into some of the other parts that we replaced. We did a motor replacement on the ABS unit. That was $125. We replaced the accessory belts. That came to a total of $23.22. Automatic transmission mount, $68.88. We did differential fluid changes a couple times here. That came to a total of $29.98. We had to get into the transmission mount area, which required us to do a drop of the catalytic converter. So there's $12.89 associated with the gaskets there. After we were all said and done, we did a four-wheel alignment on this car. That was $169.95. We had that performed at the dealership. My word of advice, if you're going to go through an alignment, make sure that all the alignment bolts that are to caster, toe, camber, all of those are free, because what we found is that the bolt on one of the lower control arms was seized and we couldn't do the alignment. So that was an extra cost on that. And also check around at your local alignment shops to see if you can drive this price down. Four-wheel balance was $43.09. We did a friction modifier within the transmission fluid change, which we'll get into a little bit later. That was $16 about. Front upper control arms, we did both sides. That was a sum total of $36.01. Fuel filter replacement, that was $11.30. The biggest one that you'll see here is the leather upholstery. So we did all the leather work ourselves, but we had to get the leather from another company and have them piece together the template. That was $1,023. That included also the installation kit for a DIY, hog rings and pliers, etc. We did a motor mount replacement. So one of the motor mounts on the front looked like it was broken or deteriorated. So we did a one motor mount replacement for $44.99. A couple oil changes within there that summed to a total of $29.99. Oil filter was $11.48. We did the PVC grommet on the valve cover. That was $2.33. PVC replacement itself, $3.32. We did a radiator cap for $6.39. We'll get into a little bit why just a radiator cap. There's a little bit more work there. We did spark plug replacement. That's an inaccurate number. That should be 9 times 6. So that would be a significantly higher number. That didn't calculate right, apparently, in my spreadsheet. We'll go back and change that. A timing belt component replacement with a water pump. So the whole kit cost $135.79. We did not do the water pump because it is the OEM water pump and is in good condition. It has relatively low miles on it, so we'll keep the water pump off to the side. Transmission filter and gasket was $20.79. We did a 2 times transmission changeover in that. That was $45.99. Let's see here. We did valve cover gaskets. That was $35.79. Some wipers for about $7 there. ABS O-rings, that was about $60. A Bose head unit replacement because ours was effectively not working, so we replaced that with a known good one. Airbox clips was about $20, and then a miscellaneous seat button cover for $15. So as you can see here, if you're going to go through this process, you can guarantee that you're going to spend a couple $1,000s on parts. So let's take a look at some of the analytics behind that. So you can see here I have a no and a yes column. So no represents everything that we have records for from previous owners and how much they spent in cost maintaining this vehicle. And then yes is how much work that we put into it. And so here's where our sum total comes to for the entire amount of work on this car over the 31 year period of the car on the road. In total, it costs $7,210 to keep this car on the road. If you think about it, it's really insignificant over a span of 30 years. And a lot of this was nitpicky stuff that we went into and changed anyways that didn't necessarily need to be changed, but we wanted to do it anyways. Shipping cost, that's relatively low. Like I said, $83.96 over the course of it. And the sum total cost of parts was $4,731. So you can see there that there's a significant amount of money that goes into the parts. Total cost, though, of everything is $7,210, like I said. So where do we fall on this spectrum? We represent 33% of the total cost to maintain this vehicle over its course of life and keep it going. So really, it's not that much of a percentage. But now you know how much it costs for us to restore the Acura Legend. What's exciting about this is now that we've done the light restoration, we're going to dig deeper into the car. And I'm going to show you what I mean here in just a second. So let's talk about the next phase of the Acura Legend. So you would say, well, why is it in phases? Well, the whole point is to show you how to do a light restoration. Now that we've done the light restoration, we need to take it to this next step. And the next step is full mechanical restoration. Now that we've got the interior looking good and the exterior looking good for the most part, I'll go into the exception here. The exception on the exterior is on the drive back. We need to repaint one of the the front grille, because it has some chipped paint now. So we'll do a small restoration project on that, and that'll be in an upcoming video. But now it's time to take it to the next step mechanically. This car has great bones, like I said. However, it's not perfect. It's a 31-year-old car. It has things that were basically on the list of needing to be done, but weren't really at the point where you needed to do them right away. But now we're gonna tackle that. So we're gonna do the next phase of the Acura Legend restoration, and we're gonna start with a full redo of the brake lines. Not the hard lines necessarily, because those are still good, but all the rubber has started to crack and deteriorate to the point where I think it's going to be a safety issue down the road, and I want to replace those preemptively before we have a problem. So we've got new brake lines all the way around, front and rear, as you can see here. And we've got some miscellaneous parts that we were able to get from Japan. So very hard to get parts, but we've got some of them here. This is the actual hose for the windshield washer fluid. This we weren't able to source in the US. It was a discontinued part, but you could still get it in Japan. So we got that from Japan and shipped over. We're going to do a proper restoration on the windshield washer sprayer hose. We're going to do upper and lower radiator hose replacements. As you can see here, we were able to get the OEM one from Japan. We weren't able to get the OEM one, but we were able to get a high quality replacement for the lower one, which will work just perfectly. We have a new main fuel relay here from Japan. And people are going to beat me up in the comments on this one, but I'm dedicated to this, and I'll explain why. So this is a new thermostat. So if we're going to redo the cooling hoses, we're going to redo the thermostat too. And I went with this company instead of a Nippon thermostat. And the reason behind that is Acura and Honda have been switching over to this company for almost all their OEM source parts. And so I'm going to go and try this as more of a proof of concept to see if this company is as reliable as the Nippon ones that you see from the dealership. You can still get the OEM ones, but for the price of this, and if Acura and Honda are trusting it to source their OEM manufactured parts now and in some fashion, gaskets and oil filters and such, then why isn't this worth trying? This is about I want to say a quarter of the price of an OEM thermostat. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and I'll go buy the OEM one. But for the amount of money that I paid for this, I'm willing to risk it. So that's going to go in the car. And then we're going to install a new radiator. Not just any radiator, a Denso radiator. So this was the original radiator manufacturer for the Acura Legend, and now we've got one here, along with all the subsequent hoses that lead to the coolant passages, lead to the transmission cooler, all of that. That is going to be the next phase of the Acura Legend project and its restoration. So stay tuned. We'll get some good videos out of this, and for now, we'll catch you on the next one.